Hello and welcome to another episode of Ask an Assistant, the podcast for executive assistants and the people that love us. I'm your host, Jess Lindgren. Let's get to work. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, esteemed colleagues, that's where we are. It's roughly quarterly time. You know those projects that you want to tackle, but they sit on your to-do list forever? Most of those, well, I don't know about most, but many of these are those necessary, but I'll do them when I find the time. I would like to encourage anyone listening to make the time. We're executive assistants. We are frequently quite busy, but those moments where you have or make a bit of focused time, consider using my roughly quarterly projects as a guide. Some of the RQ projects can be done quarterly. Some of them are a beast at first, like they're a really big to-do that's just been sitting staring you in the face and you've been putting it off forever. But then they require minimum maintenance as time wears on. One that I will talk about eventually, but just thinking about this one, there's like a visceral memory attached with knowing every day that I needed to do it and then finally sitting down and doing it and it was done. And I was just like, is that all? Really? I've been putting this off for a literal year and I could have just done this in an hour? Come on. But anyway, I digress. I also really hope that my ideas for roughly quarterly, or RQ, if you will, I hope that these projects inspire you to take on your own quarterly projects. Everything that I have to offer here is simply a suggestion. These are things that I have done myself, things that I make time. I mean, you could look at the editorial calendar for the Ask an Assistant podcast and just see plugged in where does this fall? Looking at the editorial calendar myself, actually, the third week of the second month of the quarter is roughly quarterly time. So just sitting down, picking a day at a time, and just knowing that that's the day that I'm going to do it is really helpful. And I hope that it helps you too. So whatever projects they are that you tackle on a roughly quarterly basis, whether they are the things that we have talked about here or something specific to your business and position, I would love to hear it. AskAnAssistant.com, as always. Lay your comments, questions, thoughts, and concerns on me. I am here for them. Anyhow, the roughly quarterly episodes that we have tackled up until now, feel free to poke around the archives for previous installments, which are as follows, and all of these will be linked in the show description. Episode 8, this is the template refresh. You know, those templates that you use all the time, like we get a lot of cold inquiries for people who want to be on the podcast at my full-time role. And we used to take guests, and just now in 2025, we've refocused and no longer take guests for the show. So my template undertook a very big refresh at the end of the year. So instead of being like, oh, hey, we'll reach out if we see a good fit, it's now like, hey, we don't take guests anymore. So you're welcome to give us your information, but it's going to be very few and far between that we feature a segment, let alone a standalone interview. So like that template, I use it all the time. Was finding myself toward the end of the year making tweaks. And you just have to sit yourself down and say, okay, you're just going to rewrite it. You're going to resave it. And it's going to save you so much time and hassle every time that you do it. Paste those templates into a Word doc or Google Doc, make your tweaks, save them fresh. It feels amazing. Also applies to your canned email responses. This is one that I tackle every 2 to 3 months, or whenever I notice myself making whether it's a wording choice or a grammar choice or a punctuation or spelling choice. I'm not perfect. Autocorrect is not perfect. The suggest feature in Google Apps for Business is not perfect. But whenever I catch myself making manual tweaks, I will stop myself and just copy it, paste it, make the changes, put it back into the spot where I save my canned replies. So that's episode 8. Episode 20, cleaning out large files. Whether you are, in my case, offloading your cache of giant podcast episodes to an external hard drive, if you are deleting some giant files, some files, some big, I was guilty of this one once. I don't remember if I talked about this on that episode or not. But 10 plus years ago, if you were emailing a PowerPoint back and forth, like that ate up your storage space in your Outlook account pretty quickly. Hopefully less of an issue in 2025, but 2009 through like 2013, it was an issue. And you had to get a special dispensation from IT to be able to have the space to email that PowerPoint back and forth. But just generally go through, make sure your system has enough available memory to do what you need it to do. I did this when I needed it last year, and now I check about once a month, honestly, just so I'm not ever caught in the middle of recording an episode or doing something really important for work and have no functioning space on my computer. Definitely you get burned and then you adjust accordingly. Episode 30, the subscription audit. Stop paying for things that you're not using. That's stake money. Like that's money that you can, whatever it is that you need to translate it into, that pays for your cell phone bill, that pays for half of your internet bill, whatever it is, stop paying for junk that you signed up for an account for and used it twice and then forgot about it. This one is quarterly to semi-annually for me. I work at a company of 2, and when my executive signs up for new things, I find out about it because they all come right through the inbox that we share. I also ask him roughly quarterly, if you will, if he's still using whatever the service is, because sometimes he gets comped accounts for things. Sometimes like he does a lot of advising, so he gets free accounts to the companies that he advises so he can test out the product or service. But sometimes the free account runs out or they change some internal setting and all of a sudden it's asking for a payment method. I ask him about once a quarter if he's still using it. And unlike when I recorded episode 30, we had some stuff that had been lingering for months, if not years. No longer. This stuff gets talked about immediately and saves money. Episode 43, email signatures. This one, again, company of 2, and I manage my inbox and my executive's inbox. It is very easy for me to pop in and change the email signature anytime I need to. It's really nice to have standardized email signatures, and this is something that you can do at an admin level. If you have a company of hundreds or thousands of people, having one person set the template, like whoever needs to be involved in making the decision about what the template is, go forth, have fun in your meeting. But getting that template to your IT person, having your IT person plug that in an admin, excuse me, plug that in at an admin level. Goodness gracious. Try saying that 5 times fast. It can be a very quick procedure. It can be a very laborious procedure. So we do this one roughly annually, but if your company has stuff going on, maybe you've got some kind of event coming up. I remember when I was working at a previous company, we would put sales kickoff in our email signatures. And then that was a great way to keep our customers informed. And again, all of the episodes I just mentioned, 8, 20, 30, and 43, all of that will be linked in the show notes. And today, our new roughly quarterly project that we are adding to the mix is cleaning off our desks. You know it's time. In fact, I guarantee that you know it's overdue. Take everything off your desk and start fresh. I don't care if you pull everything off and you take a picture before you pull it all off and literally put everything back in the exact same spot. Pull it all off your desk. You need to. Relevant episode, you might also check out Ask an Assistant episode 11 for my thoughts on establishing a cleaning schedule in the office, which will also be linked in the show notes. But anyhow, get yourself a little surface where you can set all of your stuff while you wipe down the desk. Pull your neighbor's desk or chair over. See if your office has a little folding table that you can commandeer for an hour. Get everything off your desk. And I am talking every single thing. Just pull it all off. Use some kind of disinfectant or cleaning solution, Clorox wipes, diluted vinegar in a spray bottle, whatever it is. I will say personally at home, I have made the switch to diluted vinegar, a few drops of dish soap, and essential oil. I love eucalyptus oil. It works wonders. It's way less harsh on your hands and lungs. It smells amazing. some of the more perfumey stuff I don't love in the essential oil space, but to me, like tea tree oil and eucalyptus oil just smell clean. And they kind of take the edge off of the vinegar smell. But whatever it is that you're going to clean your station with, pull everything off first. Get it onto a different surface so you can look at everything, you can see what you have and make decisions about what's actually going to go back. Once everything's off the workstation, you've wiped it down, you've wiped down all of your monitors, all of your cables, like all the stuff that just sits on your desk for months or quarters or years at a time. Pull it all off, wipe it all down, let everything dry. And while you wait, go through all the stuff that you pulled off your desk, like the folders, the toys, the decor, the stacks of papers, the dried out Sharpies, the dead plant, the fly that you didn't know died behind your computer. Like, just go through it all, wipe everything down. Only put back the things that you'll actively use. Like, take the opportunity to file the things that you've been meaning to file, return that folder to whoever gave it to you and then you never read it. Or maybe you did and you just haven't given it back yet. Whatever. I won't tell. Your secret is safe with me. Replace the dried out markers, toss the dead plant, buy a new one. Maybe get a grow light for it if you don't have a window, or maybe think about a fake plant, honestly, and rearrange all of your decor and your flair. It feels amazing to come back to a freshened up workspace. Like, every time I do this, I feel energized and inspired. And then I always treat myself afterward to a little something to mark the occasion. Maybe a coffee. Like, I work from home. I do not have a physical office space that I go into at the moment and haven't for many years. But I might take myself out and get a coffee from the shop around the corner instead of making one at home. I might take myself out to lunch, or going with the toys, the decor, the fake plant theme of the episode. Every so often I get myself a new little fidget toy from my friend Cassidy at Snappy Pots. She makes the cutest little fidgets. They are 3D printed cactuses, flowers, and they're made with like mechanical keyboard keys inside of them. So they're very satisfying to play with and super cute. But yeah, just a little something to mark the occasion, celebrate the fact that we have pulled everything off. We've only put back the things that we're going to use. We've replaced all of the dead things that we have just been putting off and forgetting about, honestly, because our to-do lists are a mile long. And there we have it. Another quarter on the books. For me personally, I don't know about you, but I would love to hear from you, your thoughts on this. Having these little projects to tackle in rotation, it just feels so good. Like, I spend a lot of time managing calendars, email inboxes, phone calls, text messages, and I can put a number on how many emails I send in a given day, how many phone calls I answer or place or whatever. Like, it all feels a bit nebulous. Like, everything takes as long as it takes. Booking a flight takes as long as it takes. Putting together an itinerary takes as long as it takes. Answering the emails takes it just feels like a big jazzy blur at the end of the day. The roughly quarterly projects have very tangible results, like whether it's impacting the bottom line by canceling something we no longer use, if it's putting a smile on my face every time that I use a template that I know has been tightened up, or just like seeing my fresh, fancy, clean new desk and playing with my new clicky cactus. I feel super accomplished after completing a roughly quarterly project, and I hope you do too. And esteemed colleagues, that is all for the week. Let me know which roughly quarterly projects you've tackled and what your quarterly plan looks like. Or maybe instead of quarterly, you take all of the projects and you just pick one a month, whatever your schedule is, whatever projects it is that you're tackling. I would love to hear from you. askanassistant.com. I'm here. We're all here. It's awesome. And until next week, take care.